not really music, it's just gameplay of Sonic Frontiers. What's up, everybody? It's Francisco here. I'm joined by Charles. Andrew is still not here yet, so I'll just take him off right there real quickly. But anyways, Sports Goofs number 157, if I'm counting correctly. So I gotta tell you, man, I didn't really pay much attention to sports.
Things happened. This might be a long show. This might be a short show.
Yeah.
This might be a relevant show.
But
we're in a twilight of things. I mean,
exactly. But I mean, we can continue on the entertainment side of the show that we did. Two big games came out last week for us personally. So that's been our thing now, our recent obsession.
Angel says he'll be on shortly, so this allows us properly segue the gaming section.
Yeah. So, Sonic Frontiers, that's my gameplay in the background there. And, Charles, all of the things that I saw on Twitter are true. This some of the things that some people said, what if, like, there was a Dreamcast 2? This would have been the Sonic game for that. I kind of feel that with this now. I really do. Like
a happy time.
Yeah, like Sonic Forces, like you play Sonic Forces, it's a fine game. It's not a bad game. It's not bad. It's just really short. It's really short, really simplistic.
It feels like a very, if I had to explain to you Sonic Forces, it's a very Mugen. Remember Mugen games? Like, it was just your PC gaming with, like, Dream Fights?
Yeah.
That's what I felt like Sonic Forces was. You get some Sonic every now and then, but you have to go kind of deal with
you got your
people.
create a character. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it felt like. And I liked the Sonic Forces game. I thought it was cute, man. That's what it is. Sometimes it's cute, it's relaxing. You just kind of don't take much into the information sphere of it. But Frontiers, I was already talking and eyeing about it. I had talked to you about it, and then I find out it's already on sale for like $10 less. That's not a Charles deal per se, but heavy consideration.
Yeah.
Heavy consideration.
Yeah,
I'm a cheap person.
You sent it to me. I got it for $10 less for the digital deluxe edition. But it's been the first Sonic game in a while where I legitimately since Sonic Mania, which was the last that I just had a smile on my face the entire time I was playing it.
And Mania is weird because it is actually probably the best Sonic in 10 years. And at least for me, and what people don't realize, it's not really a Sega developed Sonic game. It was,
it's a fan game,
like an indie. Yeah, and it was just fine. And if you said, for those who didn't like Mania, they're like, it was essentially a Sonic the Hedgehog 2 vibe. Exactly why it was good.
Yeah, that's the whole point. And this actually, I mean, they've been developing this one since Forces. Like, they started working on this and like almost immediately. I don't know if this uses. I think it kind of uses the same engine as Forces in some aspects, but it's got the open world, so it's like the first Sonic game to ever do this, an actual open world. Like Sonic Adventure had like the hub world, which was there, but it wasn't really anything of note, especially compared to like other hub worlds and other 3D games, 3D platform games at the time. But this one feels like people were like comparing it to like Tony Hawk. I wouldn't say completely like a Tony Hawk game in that sense. But it does. It's a nice little fun playground, and it reminds me. I don't know if you played Super Mario 3D World for Switch with the Bowser's Fury.
I didn't play with Bowser's Fury, but I know what you're talking about in reference to how the game style is.
Like Bowser's Fury on the Switch was basically just the 3D World engine, but they had like all of the just an open world, but like. All of the fun things to do were like in like these, I don't know, islands. Let's just say islands, right? Some on the ground, some underwater, some like in the air, and that's how this feels. Maybe not even exactly like Mario Odyssey, but a little bit like that too. So that's the cool thing about this. I'm just basically a non-sponsor at this point, right? So even though I've only played it once for 3 hours, but I've already really but I'm not gonna really talk about it. Until like next week as far as non-sponsors are concerned, but because I already have a different one for this week. But yeah, no, this is I legitimately have had so much fun with this. I think if you're a casual fan of Sonic, this is a good one to get. But if you're a diehard, you're definitely already got this and you are singing its praises. It's got like once again 7.5s, which I can see. 3 hours in, I'm like, okay, I can see some of the criticisms. There's some things where, like, things
there'll
pop
never
in.
be a perfect 3D Sonic game. That's what trips me up. The expectations some of the fanboys or non-Sonic fans.
I think that with this game, well, I told you, if this had gotten the polish that a Nintendo published game does or a Sony published game does, where it's just completely all cleaned up, there's like no bugs whatsoever. It's high res textures, it's just clean. It just works. Everything's clean about it. This would have gotten 9s, but there's some things graphically that's hinders it, and that's kind of like the problem here. Had it gotten like maybe another year, maybe even 6 months of development instead of coming out this holiday, it probably would have that would have gotten the 8s and the 9s probably. I would
say the 8 points or the frame rates what kind of like you said 1080p. I'm like fuck.
Well,
listen,
that's my PC. I think on PS5 you can get it to like 2K and 60 frames, but if you want 4K, it'll be at 30 frames.
Yeah, and that's yes, Andrew, we're live if he's about to jump in.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but when you're talking about 1440p, it's just because the colorization of that kind of game would make me excited to see how it looks. You're talking about a whole lot of blue and a whole lot of green. I like to see those things, but all I care about these days, to be honest with you, is frame rate stability. That's why Gotham Knights has not been played yet, because I heard the stories of how the frame rate just dips, and I don't understand how that happens when you're doing base kit developments. But Sonic, it's your patron saint, and it's always a fun game. I enjoy them, and I'll probably pick it up during Black Friday.
Yeah, get it on sale
for Christmas.
Yeah. Hey Andrew, you weren't here last week. How are you doing?
Doing all right. How are you guys?
Doing good.
Yeah.
Tired.
Yeah.
Hungry.
Yeah. I had a game, let's say in the background, it was the Penguins and the Leafs back there. It's a good game that's on right now, but it's freezing. It's freezing right now behind you. But anyways, yeah, so sports, I guess sports. This is a sports show, I guess. So we can talk about that. Andrew, you weren't here last week, so we didn't get any of the college football stuff. But stuff happened this week. Jimbo Fisher's a fraud.
Fraud!
He's a huge fraud. That's for sure. Texas is definitely not back, I think, right? Did TCU actually beat them? Andrew?
Say that again? Did TCU beat Texas?
I don't even know.
They're not.
Yeah. Okay, they're definitely not back. So that's good. That's it's great for everyone. Texas is not back. So, So Andrew, and apparently FAU beat UF in basketball for the first time ever. So that was a thing.
Yep.
And
let me say this about Texas though. I mean, they're not back, but they're making some strides. And the fact that they kept number 4 TCU so close, they only won 17-10. TCU only won 17-10. That's a good sign. But then again, Texas won the Sugar Bowl. The Sugar Bowl a few years ago.
2018 or 2019?
Yeah. And then they did that. So, so I don't know, but it's a pretty decent sign that they were able to keep TCU so close. But I don't know. I still don't think they're back.
Good. They should.
Isn't TCU basically back though? Because they haven't been ranked this high in a very long time. I think since the Andy Dalton days, if I remember correctly. It's just
I don't know if it was Andy Dalton, but it has been a while.
It felt like it was
since they've been ranked this high. They have not been ranked this high while they were members of the Big 12. Mm-hmm. They were previously members of the WAC. I think it was the WAC. And So yeah, they were previously members of the WAC. They were ranked 4th, but back then they didn't have the playoff system, so they were on the outside looking in, even though a lot of people thought they should have made it into the national championship.
All right, so okay, so let's go down the list of stuff that happened in college football, because we didn't cover it all last week. So we'll go down the scores of the top 25 and all that stuff, and I don't know if there's anything that stood out from last week, Andrew, to you.
Well, UCF beat Tulane, so that's a good sign. There's now a 3-way tie for the top of the American Athletic Conference. The AAC doesn't have divisions this year, so it's just the top 2 teams instead of the top team from each division. So right now, there are 3 teams, UCF, Cincinnati, and Tulane, that all have one loss in conference. And UCF has given Cincinnati and Tulane those losses. So right now, if UCF wins this weekend against Navy at home, then they're guaranteed a spot in, if my math is correct, they're guaranteed a spot in the conference championship game, which would likely be hosted by UCF because they own the tiebreaker over Cincinnati and Tulane. And the winner of the AAC is pretty much guaranteed a spot into the New Year's Six Bowl, which this year would be at the Cotton Bowl in Arlington, Texas. Because right now, and we'll be getting they're doing it a little later this evening because college basketball. But as the rankings stand right now, the college football, well, let's go with the AP because that's more recently reflective of.
So let me go. I don't know. I just shared with you the screen here, so you can see it on our group chat there. But so I'm just gonna go down the list of the scores, right? If anything that stands out to you, we can stop and talk about it. So number 22, Cincinnati beat East Carolina. So that happened, and that was aforementioned what you said.
That's an interesting win for Cincinnati, because that's the only team that's beaten us in conference. But again, that doesn't ultimately matter at the end of the day, because UCF beat Cincinnati and Tulane. Although I don't know what came of this, but apparently there were allegations that one of our former coaches gave the playbook to ECU. Which I don't know how substantive those allegations are. And I'm not the kind of person who wants to give excuses for something like that unless there's a legitimate, I don't say that unless there's fire. I'm not if there's smoke, there's fire kind of guy.
All right. I'll say it. They cheated. They gave his playbook because they're sour that they didn't want to get into the Gus Malzahn train. They love Todd Weppel's balls too much, or Scott Frost. I got you, bro. Don't worry. I got you.
So let's see.
All right.
So how the New Year's Six Bowl New Year's Six works is the top. So for all intents and purposes, the top the top conference champion from the group of 5 schools gets an automatic berth into the New Year's Six. So right now, the top ranked group of 5 team is UCF. Followed by Tulane and Cincinnati. So again, basically whoever wins the AAC, barring some massive meltdown of all 3 teams, because the next highest ranked is UTSA, and they are way behind. So yeah, the odds are that the American is going to get the Group of Five bid this year. And I just want to point out that a lot of people give the Big 12 shit for being a weak conference. And they're like, oh, you won't survive without Oklahoma or Texas. Well, let's go through what the teams that are going to be in the Big 12 next year. And again, I'm using the AP because the college football playoff rankings won't be released until 9 p.m. tonight. So you've got TCU, UCF, Kansas State, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State are all ranked in the top 25. Top 25. Receiving votes are Texas. But again, Texas is way the hell down there. They're the equivalent of 27th. And Oklahoma is
Trash.
shit. They're total shit this year. Which is, listen, I appreciate Dylan Gabriel for all he did for UCF, but he left in a really shitty way.
Fuck him.
So I feel a bit of schadenfreude seeing him like this. But at the same time, as someone pointed out, he's laughing all the way literally to the bank. So he really probably just doesn't give a shit.
Alrighty. Let me go on.
So,
sorry, you go to finish your thought.
Well, another big game that I want to point out is UCLA. They lost to Arizona. Arizona.
What was the last time Arizona did a thing in football? They're a basketball school at this point. Right?
It's been a while. It's been a while since they've done anything noteworthy. And Arizona is, what are they ranked? Or what is their? Where are they? They are 4-6. So
trash.
Yikes.
So yeah, that not a good look for UCLA, and it's kind of a bummer because UCLA was ranked. Now I can go to the college
football. Did they rank as high as like 10 at one point, or something like that? They were
ranked 12th last week.
Okay.
And crosstown rival USC was ranked 8th. So with a win against. So the teams directly above them were UCLA were Ole Miss and Clemson. Ole Miss lost to Alabama. It was close, but they still lost. So presumably UCLA would have been 11, and USC. Actually, no, it could have been a top 10 matchup because Oregon in 6th lost to Washington. So there's a chance they could have been dropped to below 10, perhaps. So there's a chance this could have been a top 10 matchup, but no, they had to lose to Arizona. So it'll be interesting. The Rose Bowl is still sold out though for the first time in forever. So it's going to be an interesting game.
Okay, let's see. So yeah, you mentioned USC. They beat Colorado. They spanked them. Ohio State spanked Indiana. LSU beat Arkansas barely, 13-10.
Yeah, that. I feel like Arkansas should have won that one, but shit happens.
Notre Dame.
I've been saying shit a lot. I've been saying shit a lot on the show so far.
Notre Dame just got through Navy, 35-32.
Notre Dame is so overrated. I honestly do not know why anyone is ranking them.
Because nepotism,
preferential treatment, nepotism.
Yeah. Tennessee obliterated Missouri.
Frauds.
Clemson beat Louisville. Penn State shut out Maryland. Then
yeah, but you guys have heard the phrase cupcake games, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
These for those teams, this was basically cupcake week.
Yeah.
I mean, Mississippi State, Georgia, MSU is 6-4, so that's not bad. But Indiana is 3-7. Nebraska is Nebraska. Mizzou is 4-6.
Yeah.
Arkansas is 5-5. They started out the year pretty hot. Up until Cincinnati's lost to UCF, that was the only team that beat Cincinnati. But Arkansas's really fallen off. It's like Colorado. You might as well call that a bye week at this point. Louisville, not great either. So this was kind of cupcake. That was kind of like the prelude to this being cupcake week, for real. Because now you've got who's Georgia playing this week?
Well, let me keep going on the list, and we'll move on to next week. So let's see. Iowa State, OK State beat them 2014. Once again, you said Michigan destroyed Nebraska. Bama just got through Ole Miss. UCF beat Tulane in a pretty hotly contested game, right? Georgia spanked Mississippi State. Washington beat Oregon, just barely, but they got through, upsetting them in a way. K-State
and it was even more impressive that win because it was at Autzen Stadium. It was in Oregon, and that stadium can get loud. So I put a lot of weight on an away game if they beat somebody, but especially a place like Autzen.
UNC beat Wake Forest, barely. TCU beat Texas, who's not back. Coastal Carolina beat Southern Miss, barely. Some barely games here. FSU spanked Syracuse, so that was fun. The Noles.
I gotta say, I'm really bummed with how a lot of these teams have fallen. You had teams like...
And you notice that they're all like basketball schools normally.
Right, like Kansas was 6-0 at one point. Syracuse, Wake Forest,
basketball school.
So all of these schools that had no business being undefeated so far into the season, they've all just kind of fallen off, which is really unfortunate because I love the chaos. Speaking of chaos, UConn is bowl eligible.
Basketball school.
Someone's got to get Jim Mora an award.
Oh, what about... Okay, let me go down and keep going and we'll finish this off. Oregon State beat Cal. Utah spanked Stanford. And then, aforementioned Arizona beating UCLA. What's going down with the FIU prediction? I don't know what the heck happened.
I thought he was on a heater the last couple of games, right?
Well, I'm still sticking to my prediction that they'll be bowl eligible, but the odds of that happening are fading fast. But I'm going down with the ship.
Did we play?
I'm not a quitter.
Did the FIU play last week?
Yeah, they're heading up to... I forget, is it El Paso, Murphy's? I think they're heading to El Paso. I think they're playing UTEP this week.
All right. Go Miners.
Yeah, by the way, UConn, their last bowl game was in 2015 under Bob Diaco. And just as an additional note, so the UConn did not play in 2020 due to COVID. So if you get their past few seasons, it was 2021, 2019, 18, and 17, I think. They had a combined 7 wins in those seasons. And they have 6 already with a decent chance of getting a 7th. So, that just goes to show you that's a hell of an improvement. And if head coach Jim Mora does not win Coach of the Year, the thing is rigged.
Rigged.
Alrighty.
Okay. I mean, bloody hell, man. He took a 7-win team over the past 4 seasons to 6-5 with the potential of a 7th, which they're playing Army, which is certainly a winnable game, especially this year. They're 3-6. As long as you know how to stop the triple option, the service academies are a cakewalk, which is easier said than done because the triple option it can be pesky. But if Mora does not win Coach of the Year, there will be riots.
Okay, so all right. So now next week, what are the games that stand out to you?
Well, according to Reddit CFB, because they put their featured games and their ranked games. So the featured games are Utah, Oregon. If Utah is currently, according to I don't know which poll. Let me see what the AP says. AP has Utah ranked just ahead of Oregon. So they're in a decent chance to, I don't know, but if there's any chance of the Pac-12 getting into the New Year's Six, a lot of that's going to rest on Utah. Most of it, though, is going to rest on USC, which is the highest ranked team. USC, UCLA, like I mentioned. TCU, Baylor. Again, Baylor's doing okay this year. They're 6-4, but they are playing at McLean Stadium in Waco. So it's always that kind of trap game. If TCU can get past that, they only have one regular season game to go, and then they're into the conference championship game. So yeah, we'll see. Let's see. Bedlam, Oklahoma State. This is the first time in a while that Oklahoma State has been the odds-on favorite, the undisputed odds-on favorite to win. But it is in Norman, so that could affect things a bit. Got Ole Miss, Arkansas, Michigan, Illinois, Kentucky, Georgia. Tulane, again, pretty much at this point, any game that UCF, Tulane, and Cincinnati play has New Year's Six implications. Because if two of those teams win and one of them loses, then that team is essentially eliminated. Who else? Washington is 31-point favorites over Colorado. You have Penn State, Rutgers. Clemson, Miami is going to be fun to see how badly Miami just gets the shit kicked out of them.
I got the score. I got the score right now. Can I tell you the prediction? See if Charles Adamus is there.
Let's do it.
37-3.
Huh. Okay.
So you're saying that Clemson, who's ranked 9th, is going to do worse against Miami at home, no less.
Yep.
Than Florida State did on the road.
And can I tell you why?
Yes.
Because Dabo doesn't know his damn team with that quarterback. Remember, that offense was struggling in between last year and this year. I'm not saying we have any prize pigs on that team to be proud of defensively either. I'm just saying that they're going to rest on them laurels, and Dabo's going to screw it up. I don't think it'll be 70-3.
Well, the odds of that happening are no, but Florida State beat Clemson 45-3.
Miami. We lost.
Sorry. See, Cincinnati Temple. Here he goes. This game is so lopsided. There isn't even a betting line on it. It's Alabama versus FCS Austin P. That'll be interesting. Tonight there are two games. We have a rivalry matchup between Toledo and Bowling Green, which kicked off about an hour ago, and then Ohio versus Ball State, which also kicked off about an hour ago.
Bowling Green is kicking the crap out of Toledo right now.
I haven't seen what the score.
21-0 in the second quarter already. Yeah, and Ohio is 7-3 right now over Ball State, which is one of the funniest university names out there.
What, Ball State?
Yeah.
Ball don't lie.
I have trivia for you guys.
13 years old.
I have a trivia question for you guys. Who is arguably the most famous alumnus from the school?
From Ball State?
Is it a running back? I just remember running back.
It can't be Sam Cassell because he went to Florida State. So I don't know.
Keep going.
State. Are you talking about like football? Just football? Or like all sports? Because I don't know nobody from Ball State.
He may have played sports at one point, but he is not best known for playing sports.
Oh, so it's like a celebrity.
That doesn't. We're not here for no politicians, Andrew.
No, it's not a politician.
Right, it's an entertainer.
It's a celebrity.
Then. It's an entertainer, then, right?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is an entertainer.
Okay, so it's a man. All right, so the entertainer man.
Well, I gave that away at the beginning by saying alumnus, but I'm a nerd, so.
Okay, so what is there a difference between alumnus and whatever for females?
So alumnus is a singular male. Alumna is a singular female or singular woman. And then alumni.
Everybody.
Well, here's where it gets a little confusing. Alumni with an I. Alumni with an I is either plural men or a gender neutral group of graduates, and then alumni AE is plural for women graduates.
If anybody ever referred me as an alumnus to anything, I will burn that school to the ground.
So
call me alumni, past student.
The three
I'm not
of us.
Plants that you're trying to figure out my chromosomes.
So anyway, yes, this is a man, an entertainer, who graduated from Ball State in. I'll give you another clue here.
Tom Hanks
He graduated in 1969.
Nice. Okay, not Tom Hanks then. I have no idea. I want to know. I have no clue. Uncle.
Charles?
Oh, hell no, man. You didn't give me any. That could be anybody. You didn't go to it to a degree, and you like some weird shit that I'm like, Bob Ross? Okay.
The celebrity I'm referring to is named David Michael Letterman.
Oh, okay.
Letterman's over it.
Alrighty. Okay.
So anyway, I do kind of I have to unfortunately bring down the mood a little bit here. This is related to college football. There was
okay. I know where you're headed.
There was a mass shooting this weekend that involved a former player, although he never actually played. He was just on the roster. Christopher Darnell Jones was on a field trip with a class who had gone to D.C. He shot 5 people. 2 have survived. One of them is in critical condition. The 5th, we don't know who it is at this time, but one of the people, the critically injured one, and then unfortunately 3 passed away, were members of the University of Virginia football team. Lavelle Davis Jr., Deshaun Perry, and Devin Chandler. And then running back Mike Hollins was the person injured. there's no word about whether their game this week will be played, and quite honestly, given
cancel the season, man, at that point.
I hate to be brusque, but just talking about the realities of it, they're not going to be, they're bowl ineligible. They have 7 losses already. So the only reason they would keep playing is to, help the players feel better. And I could understand that. But it's just senseless. Again, this is, it's awful. But luckily, a lot of people are coming together to support UVA right now, which is nice. Particularly their rival, Virginia Tech, which, as I'm sure you guys know, had a large mass shooting about 15 years ago. Yeah, at this point. So I know that kind of brings it down a bit, but it is related to college football. But it's also something to mention as well, because it's just another just terrible event.
Yeah. Well, this makes my Sonic review kind of frivolous, but okay. Well, all right. So we're at 38 minutes, guys. So let's see if we can kind of pivot this to something that can bring the mood back up. Let's talk about pizza toppings. I sent you guys a video of NHL players talking about their pizza toppings and which ones their favorites and everything like that. So, so some of them were like, okay, pretty simple and stuff like that. I like what the NHL's doing lately with these questions to NHL players, trying to get actual personality out of them. That's great. But what do you guys think? Like, what's your go-tos? What's out there? Do you guys, when you go to like all these restaurants, these places, do you go for the fancy stuff? Do you go for all the wackiness, right? What is it? What do you guys think? Or are you just all plain Jane? Right, pineapples on pizza. I know you guys aren't heathens, right? I'm a heathen, but even I don't do that. What do you guys think?
I'll do it.
You'll do it?
I'm actually having pizza tonight for dinner, so this is relevant. So I can't wait for the show is over so I can eat it as we speak. Mm-hmm. But so this is my honest opinion on some things about pizza. Where am I getting it from? If I'm getting it from like Domino's, or I don't really eat Papa John's, but I'll give that as an example. I really just kind of keep it simple because the quality is not always going to be the best. Like, we'll use Domino's for example, even though I was like a backhanded compliment that I just said to them. But I might do some weird stuff like pepperoni, bacon, and buffalo sauce to kind of go from there. But if we're going to like coal fire pizza or gourmet pizza, I'm going to contemplate what variety stuff can you make me. And I'll try out some weird stuff that you have. So it depends. But you're talking about basic essentials. Mm-hmm. You always got to get the pepperoni. Definitely need some pepperoni in my life. I would say also you would have to have. I like bacon, not Canadian bacon, on there. Or at least I would take sausage is dependable. I gotta do the sausage scramble. The problem with some of these places is they do not bake in the sausage and it ruins it. And I won't necessarily do pineapple per se.
That's true. If you just sprinkle it on top, it doesn't mesh well at all.
Yeah. So that's what we talk about, any kind of specialties. But typically, a meal that has a lot of toppings, I go for the meat lovers. Mm. I love that meat.
Oh, we know you love the meat. Meat on meat.
We know what about.
How about
black olives? You guys do that?
Oh no, Andrew. I know Andrew doesn't do olives. You hate olives, don't you?
Nope.
Yeah, there you go. No. I'm not. Gosh, man. I thought. I mean, maybe. I can definitely.
Not. I mean, how crazy do you get with pizza? I don't know anybody who's like weird. Where you're like, what the fuck are you? Sardines? What are you? And I'm playing Ninja Turtles right now, so this is super relevant. I think to our conversation. Anchovies. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
Andrew, tell me about
nice margarita pizza. You know,
experience.
if I feel like being healthy, you get one of those. Just like, yeah, I just feel like getting one of these margarita pizza that have some spinach bay leaves on there. I'm just like, okay, I feel like I'm healthy, but it's not really. I just need something cheesy with some leaves on it as an excuse to sound like I'm being healthy while eating a pizza. But yeah, for me, pizza is just I don't like deviating from certain like established flavors, right? Like onions completely kill pizza for me. Absolutely.
Ew, disgusting.
Absolutely, disgusting. Completely. I remember my sister. I was probably like in 4th or 5th grade. I remember she made like a homemade pizza. Like I was getting excited. I'm like, all right, cool, this is new, and it was filled to the brim with onions. I'm like, like you've known me since I've been born. Why would you feed this to me? She's like, it's not that bad. It's pungent. It is pungent. The smell of onions and the taste. And it's not one of those. And onions are so strong where you can't even peel it off. Because if you all right, just pick at it. No, it completely.
The juices just get everything.
Exactly, it engulfs the rest of anything around it within the immediate area. That's the worst thing. So the Penguins just scored like 2 goals in like 10 seconds against the Leafs. That's awesome. Anyways, so yeah, no, I can deal with some sauces, right? The barbecue sauce and everything like that. Meats are good. I feel like sometimes I'm overwhelmed by a meat lover's pizza, if that's possible. Like sometimes it might be too much. But it could be the disparaging flavors of the meats as well. Sometimes I might get overwhelmed, or maybe it's just the meat sweats that are overwhelming me, and I just can't handle it.
You know what the answer to that is? It's that there's not enough cheese to make you think that could hold the meat with proper stability.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
I understand your concerns.
Because I remember when the what was it? Was it Pizza Hut or somebody made that that spicy meat pizza or whatever, which I think was it was. The spice was. I actually had to make it hotter because it didn't feel enough. But I felt like the meat.
Was that Little Caesars? What weren't you and I like talking about that?
I don't think it was Little Caesars. I don't think it was. I think it was Pizza Hut. Or no, maybe it was Papa John's. I have no idea. I think it's either Papa John's or Pizza Hut. I don't think it was Little Caesars. Because when I go to Little Caesars, it's because I hate myself. That's when I go to Little Caesars. I go to Little Caesars when I'm feeling bad and I feel like garbage and I just need something. I need to get those $5 hot and readies and just be like, well, I'm a disgusting human being today. That's when Little Caesars is called for. But yeah, no, it's sometimes it's the meat lovers can be overwhelming, and maybe it's just the way that they mix maybe it's the sauce as well. Maybe they didn't do it correctly, and also could be the cheese balance as well. But Andrew, how about you? You are the one I want to know most about because as far as pizza is concerned, we've shared pizzas. But have you ventured out? Have you broadened your horizons with regards to pizzas?
I'm relatively bland, I guess. In terms of toppings, I mean, my go-to that I'll always be good with is ground beef and mushrooms.
Mushrooms are weird. Like, I get it in spurts, but then I get scared from
it. Why you get scared?
On a pizza, because the mushrooms themselves lack flavor, but they're like, heated up and everything, and so you're just cooking them. So I think it's more of the aesthetic or the belief that I'm eating something healthy.
The mushrooms
Andrew, what do you find? And so what do you find? Because this also brings back to what
you're going for too.
But what are we? But that brings into how are you getting? Are you getting the mushrooms from Pizza Hut, Papa John's, or are you getting from like the gourmet pizza places? Because I can understand that if you have like a pseudo Italian place that actually has like real mushrooms, and not something that's frozen for like 6 days.
It's from anywhere really.
So what do you like about the mushroom pizza?
It
or mushrooms
adds
on your pizza?
it adds a little bit of extra chew.
Without there we go.
Without overdoing it with like extra flavor or whatever. Like like you said, there's mouthfeel. Like there's mouthfeel with onions, but it ruins the pizza.
Absolutely,
indeed.
Now another one that's really good, and I've only seen it at one place, and that's Lazy Moon up in Orlando. It's called Jason's Mom's Slice.
Is it a Jason Voorhees reference?
No, or maybe it is. I don't know.
I would think
Could be.
So.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because every year they host an Arnold Schwarzenegger-a-thon, where for one day all they play on the TVs are Arnold Schwarzenegger movies.
Where are these places in Miami? Like I don't see any of these things.
Man, pizza Miami is so hard to enjoy.
Well, we've had that conversation. That's for sure.
Miami is too bougie. It doesn't have the sub-segment of society that would appreciate that. Because the only people that would appreciate that, and by the way, and it's Arnold Schwarzenegger's birthday they celebrate, and they're big proponents of PBR, because according to Arnold Schwarzenegger, PBR is integral to health, like milk is, or something like that. So you need a weird cross section of society, which is part hipster and at the same time a bit, like you wouldn't find that cross section in, say, Gainesville.
I mean, like here, like the pizza places are either
trash.
There's I think there's like three categories. There's the chain restaurants, right? You got your maybe four. You got the chain restaurants that are like Pizza Hut and Papa John's and Little Caesars, Domino's, right? You got those. Then you got the ones that are chains, but they're like kind of casual restaurants at the same, like CC's or Anthony's Coal Fire, like that, right?
Right.
So you got that.
Wood kind of pizza. I can't speak. Wood fire pizza, all that stuff.
Yeah, or a sit down place, or the all you can eat buffet.
I got like mush mouth.
Yeah. Or
I mean, I haven't had CC's in like 15 years, bro.
Yeah, or they're either, or you got the third category, which are Cuban people who don't know how to make
Coal
pizza.
Fire,
Cuban people who don't know how to make pizza, but they decide they want to open a pizza restaurant. Okay, Cuban people.
Let's tell a fun story.
Oh boy, what happened?
So,
and the fourth one is like the bougie place, like Andrew was saying, the bougie that's trying way too hard to be either an actual Italian restaurant or just like it's like it's like some of them are good, but you don't get any of that craziness. Like I remember in Tallahassee there's a place like that, like Lazy Moon, where it's all kinds of weird shit on the walls and everything like that, but they make those gigantic big ass pizzas. But it's good. It's some good stuff, and like a sense of community.
Momos.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that took me back. Woo! Yeah, that's the one.
So I mean, that's the thing is Orlando and UCF are uniquely positioned in the heart of the state and going to UCF, you see that where you see people that have that kind of South Florida, Miami vibe, kind of cosmopolitan, metropolitan. But then you see people walking around in cowboy hats driving pickup trucks. Orlando is that perfect mix of North and South. And it's a university, which in of itself is already a bit kind of not bougie, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. I get that, but also there's a sense of community, right? Like, but like none of that stuff. Charles, you said you had a story. What was Miami pizza story?
Really short. So my first exposure to like Miami pizza, when you're living on your own and you just move to a place that you don't know anything, and universally everybody loves pizza. You know, even the Ninja Turtles, who I'm playing as right now because we're doing Leonardo's run through on Shredder's Revenge. So you enjoy it, but I remember ordering this pizza from the place in the movie theater for $13. And then you get their chicken wings as well. And you always get kind of like a different distinct taste of chicken wings when you go to a pizza shop. But I can't say no to chicken wings and pizza. That's why I'm in danger myself. So I order it, and everything comes out to like $20. And you get the biggest ass pizza you've ever seen in your life. Wings that are more grilled than actual like chicken wings, in my opinion, with sauces. But then you eat the pizza, and it's good, and it literally has like no texture or flavor at all. No butter on that crust. No. The cheese just tastes like cheese that you melt in a microwave, and the sauces have no sweetness, robustness, or hardiness. Yep. But you know what? Because it was probably the lesser of all evils, I still got pizza there for the 3 years I was in Miami when I didn't want to go to Little Caesars.
Oh, man.
Because there was one right by FIU by where I lived.
Yeah, I've had the worst pizzas I've ever had here in Miami.
In Miami, yep.
Yeah.
But anyway, to go back, I want to mention what the toppings are on that pizza. So it's chicken, so it's kind of like grilled chicken. Well, not grilled either. Basically, you know what? It's like standard pizza chicken. You know,
it's like roasted grilled chicken, slightly.
Yeah,
no, I get
you.
So
so chicken, sautéed mushrooms, caramelized onions, tomatoes, baked ranch, and they call it baked Jason's mom's sauce, which is basically kind of like a slightly tangy barbecue sauce.
Okay. All right.
Although also Lazy Moon does make a Cuban pizza. It's a mustard base with mojo pork, ham, dill pickle slices, and mozzarella.
Okay, that's
too much going on.
That's meant to be like a Cuban sandwich, but in a pizza form. Okay, no, I can't.
But I've had a Cubano on my tacos from Taco Shack.
Even I haven't done the hedonistic thing of using mustard on my pizza. Like I've done, like you know me, I eat like a dumpster raccoon, but still. Okay, alrighty. All right, so let's see. We're at 53 minutes. You guys want to just do non-sponsors now? We can do that.
Sure.
Alrighty. So people, places, things, concepts, what have you? We've been enjoying over last week. I already got mine, so I'm gonna do it right now. I'm going with Extreme Rate. I think I've done them before, maybe, but if not, I'm gonna do it now. So Extreme Rates, they are, I guess, probably the more prolific of the shell manufacturers out there to customize your Switch or your Xbox or your PlayStation controllers out there. They even have some. I think that you can even replace your Game Boy or Game Boy Color. I think that they do have some parts for retro systems, mainly Nintendo, Wii U, 3DS, DS, and the Game Boy Advances and stuff like that. Which, if I still had mines, I hadn't sold them, I probably would have done. But either way, they got all these custom bits and stuff. You can make your controllers light up and everything like that. It's really, really cool. I got into it last year when I bought my Xbox Elite controller used. It had a busted shoulder buttons, and the front plate of it was kind of nasty because it's that soft grip texture. I don't know if the PS5 controller's like that, but it has that texture.
No,
I'm not sure. But either way, some controllers have that like soft touch grip to them, and the thing is, those things are like personal, very like you don't want to buy used one of those and keep it. And
because it feels like jizz. I get you.
Exactly. Yeah, you feel like somebody has done things to this controller. So I promptly replaced mine with a clear faceplate. So that was cool for the Xbox. And I was like, oh well, if I can do the Xbox, I can do the Switch. So that's what I did for my Switch clear green controllers and back plate for my actual Switch console. It's fun actually. And they have online when you buy these, they have on YouTube instructions on how to do it. But it's usually a person that's not actually explaining it; they're just showing you how to do it. But you just go on YouTube, you can find other people who do that themselves and actually explain it to you. But I mean, you're seeing all the examples here. I'm sure Charles does not want to dip into his PS5 and ruin that right now, but
oh no, that's good enough as it is.
Yeah, but they do have all these. Yeah, they have the Xbox, each version of the Xbox controllers, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, the Elite controllers, the PS4 and the PS5, the Switch and the Pro controller as well. So so I just recently did 2 controllers for the Switch. I bought used, got them fixed by Nintendo for free, and completely changed up their shells to be like a yellow customized Pikachu one and a red one with Kirby customization for my nephew and my niece. And they loved it when I gave it to them this past weekend. And yeah, it's really cool. It's really, really fun to do. They give you all the parts and everything. You can see all the Switch ones. It's great for the Switch. You can just kind of get all kinds of customized looks for yourself, and they even have the straps that you can customize too. So, So, Extreme Rate. They're on Amazon. You can find these on Amazon, or you can order it directly from them too. They'll get to you. If you order from them, it'll get to you like a week because sometimes Amazon doesn't have all of their stuff. So there you go. Promo code. I don't know, customization. There, simple. Love it. All right, who's next? Who wants to go next?
I'll go next since we're talking about food. So, fellas, I think we might have mentioned them before in the past for the purpose of non-sponsors, is for people to make a nice return in life every now and then because you're doing it so good that we have to show you some bit of appreciation. So for the last 2 weeks, I've been a fat ass. That's how I'm going to start this conversation. I found out that and I just died. You guys love Five Guys. We don't love Five Guys. It's just going to be the non-sponsor, but there's a story to this. And I did take a photo of it. I found out that, Five Guys can do a little bit of a specialty patty, a specialty burger for you. God bless TikTok and people and everybody else who's willing to find out certain things to give me information in life. So you can get Five Guys to get you the grilled cheese and then add patties to it. So you already got greasy enough grease in Five Guys as it is. Normally, I get 2 patties, bacon, mayo, lettuce, tomato, and hot sauce, and I get some fries and I call it a day. Well, 2 weeks ago, I had the grilled cheese with the single patty, and it was just nice, sweet, cheesy, buttery. But I was like, but you know what? It's kind of missing like an additional layer because I was still kind of hungry afterwards. Last week, I was like, I'm going to, get some Five Guys again. I'm going to try this out. So I got the grilled cheese thing. I go to him, and I'm like, hey, can I get the grilled cheeseburger? And I've had not one, but both the attendees that I've asked on the last 2 weeks smile at me and be like, yeah, we do that here. Why is everybody asking? I'm like, it's like a secret. It's like Fight Club in that sense, except it's like burgers. Ooh. So I go to them and I'm like, but instead of that, I'm like, can I get 2 patties? And they're like, yeah, you can get 2 patties. 2 patties on a grilled cheese. Do you know how much it costs? Can I explain to you how much this costs? With all my sauces, I like the mayo, the tomato, the lettuce, and the hot sauce. It was only $10. So it's legitimately $1 more than what you're paying for a bacon cheeseburger. Did I cut 5 years off my life? Absolutely. Was it delicious? It really was. And here's the problem with Five Guys sometimes. Sometimes it's too hot for its own good that the heat goes and takes out the flavoring a little bit. But I don't really feel like it was that case. And when you think about it, I have paid $17, $18 for gourmet burgers at a restaurant that weren't worth it. But Five Guys is reliable. Five Guys is safe. Five Guys is just your neighborhood friend. Five Guys, I'm going to say it right now. Five Guys is the Mr. Rogers of, fast food gourmet-ish burgers. Won't you be my neighbor? You're always happy to see it. You ain't going to complain about that red vest, and you ain't going to complain about that red and white checker thing come into it. It is very good. And I did get fries. And you know what? when I don't want the Wendy's, and at the way that some prices are going for a lot of things, I don't do the McDonald's really for the burgers. I tried McDonald's for that chicken stuff, and I was super disappointed anyway to begin with. That I told you guys about, but this was good. It was tasty. You can work on the secret menu. It's just something interesting to kind of try out. So I encourage you, go to Five Guys, have their little grilled cheese burger, 2 patties, came out to $10.89. Get yourself some fries if you want. It's the weekend, Thanksgiving coming up. We're gonna gain weight anyway. Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Join me on this adventure to stardom.
I've never heard of this. Hackthemenu.com. This is new.
Well, game changer. It's not the greatest. Look, if you said, Charles, it's not my patron saint of worship, and I'd rather just keep it to my regular bacon burger sandwich, I would understand, and I would be respectful. But I would implore each and every one of you to why not? Just why not? Come on, just a tip. Just a tip. It's okay. And so I love it. Promo code, secret menu.
Yeah. This is...
Give it a try, $10. What you got to lose? The rate some of these prices are right now?
Yeah, for real. All right, Andrew, what do you got? If you have anything.
I don't know. Nothing really sticks out in my mind, to be honest. It's been a neutral week.
All right.
I mean,
try out that burger, Andrew.
Oh, without question.
Good man.
Okay, I think I have one. So the past couple of weeks, I've been going to court to help out a friend of mine who was doing a criminal trial. And so naturally, you have to wear a suit to go to court. I can't just go in my athletic shorts and shirt, because that would not fly. Although that would be wonderful, but
I'd do it if I was a judge. I would be like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, stop creating this classism amongst attorneys and the judges, the common people. Damn it! Let me wear my wrestling shirt.
Do I get? I want a pizza now, man. Like I'm looking at the Papa John's menu at this point. Go ahead, Andrew. What do you got in your suits?
So I am a larger individual at this time. I'm hoping that changes within time. I'm working on it. But at least for the time being, I am a larger individual. So I need a suit designed for larger individuals that is relatively cheap. And I have said suit. I got it from Macy's. It is the Shaquille O'Neal line of suits.
I've done suits at Macy's and JCPenney as well.
Macy's.
It's actually not that bad. They're called the XLG. They're nice. I mean, they're good suits for the price. I'm looking at, or maybe I got it from JCPenney. I don't remember.
I'm amazed. I type Shaquille O'Neal. They just give me Shaquille O'Neal jerseys when he was playing for the Magic. And
so it must have been Penny then. So yeah, $165 for a full suit.
That's fair.
Okay.
I mean, it's not going to be tailored like you would if you went to Men's Warehouse, or is Joseph A. Bank still around?
I think
so. Did they fold?
I'm not even
during
sure
the pandemic.
I have no idea. I just remember.
Oh yeah, they're still around. They're still around. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they died with.
Jeez, the closest one to me is in fucking Boynton Beach.
Oh,
they used to have one in
mall. That's probably at the mall.
They used to have one in Coral Gables on Miracle Mile. But anyway, so yeah, it's not going to be nice and tailored like that, and I get that. But if you can find a tailor around where I live near FIU, that'll will make adjustments and tailor to suit to some extent for like $50.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a quick suit and you're a larger individual, I'd say go for it. It's good for the price. I would recommend getting some tailoring done to it a little bit. I mean, aside from making it fit you better, Also strengthening the seams because, you know, you get what you pay for. The seams are a bit weak. You know, I wasn't doing anything spectacular. I was just getting into my car and the seam on my leg ripped. So I had to get that strengthened up, and it's been fine since. But yeah, if you're, like I said, you're looking for a quick suit, I'd say that's a good way to go. So the Shaquille O'Neal XLG line, promo code Shactus.
Shactus Jack.
Yeah. Okay, so we're at an hour and 6. I don't know anything about NBA right now.
I can give you stuff about NBA. I guess I got to do my part. I'll lead the group here on the NBA. So the Lakers suck. That's how we're going to start.
I know that.
And it is time to kind of have that conversation because basketball, even though it's so early in its season, I think they're a staggering like 3-13. Francisco, I will bring up the notes and go.
Yeah, I think that's what's going on. I'll just put it up there when I get it up there. But yeah,
it is something that is of interest to me because I'm just gonna say it outright. There are certain things I would like on my team, such as 3-point shooters who are big men. And even though Bam Adebayo just put up 30 points last night, and our good friend Jeremy Taché, who's now doing some stuff for Valley Sports, follow him on Twitter. Follow us on the Twitter, Charles LaTrue, FJOJR, Dan Frijoles. I need a big man who shoot the three because I have some aspirations for the Heat. I think a lot of people are frauds, and you're usually this early at frauds anyway. But the Lakers are sucking. Darv Hammond's not doing that good. They built a roster that is ass. There's no big names. When Kendrick Nunn is the guy that you have to pray as your 2 and 3 to kind of make something happen, a former Heat himself.
Like Kendrick Nunn's on that team?
Yeah, he's still on the team, remember?
Oh, wow.
We didn't want him. We traded him out.
Ryder moved to Winnipeg.
And then LeBron's just chilling there, and there's always the joke about tanking for Wembanyama. Who is just a freak of nature. But a lot of teams that were doing good last year are sucking, so you have to go into what's panic mode and what's not panic mode, but they're not doing good. Cleveland's kind of catching my eye a little bit, but, I'm going to give some shout-outs because that's better to do in the NBA this early in the season instead of just doing a pretty, the Lakers are done. They're done. Yeah. If you can't know who I'm being, it's Stephen A. Smith. Yeah. And also, can I just get Mad Dog off my television? He wasn't interesting in the 80s and 90s anyway. He was just obnoxious.
He wasn't even good on MLB Network, so.
Yeah, and he's just not encouraging now. All they want to do is just proliferate their
They just need a loud New Yorker.
Yeah, and I'm and I'm gonna give you a calm New Yorker from this one. But it's impressive. I think Celtics are doing interesting because they have Frank Masiello, I think is his name, the guy who is replacing suspended Ide Umoka, whatever his name is. I can't think right now. Mr. Cheat on Me Along, which makes no sense. J. Cole sang about her, and you still cheat on her, and they're at like a staggering 11-3. Kyrie sucks. So, it's kind of like a Debbie coming into it. We love KD and the pettiness. The Nets decide not to go for Udoka.
KD's at peace. I see his tweets, and like he's at peace with him. So he's got his rings. He really doesn't care if he wins another one.
There's literally so much you can do. So the Nets went with Jacques Vaughn as their permanent coach. He was sitting on the bench after they fired Steve Nash.
Do I get the epic pepperoni stuffed crust one topping pizza?
Absolutely. Like, why is this even a question? Pepperoni epic. So I will appreciate this. Little Caesars, I think, does the all pizza thingy, where everything's just topped on pepperoni. So I was impressed. Or maybe it was.
I've been bad. I just haven't been cooking lately. I've been bad with like not actually making my meals. But I just get home and I've been too tired, and I stopped watching.
I should mention my favorite pizza is stuffed crust pizza.
Oh my god, yeah. Which also brings in the other issue. We can talk about toppings, but all that means nothing if you don't have the right kind of crust and flavoring. It's just a known science.
That's true. Yeah.
But a few more touches on the NBA because it's still too early to kind of talk about things, but I'll give some Heat impressions. We love Jimmy Butler. Always love the Jimmy. Bam is going to have those games where he stands out. And, like I said last year, and I'll go on the Twitter. Who knows how long we'll go on the Twitter that Musk is owning it. But until then, I don't like to really do too much social media. I'd rather keep a lot of things private. I don't tweet. You guys know this. It's always a joke that we make. I'm like, someone made me say something. But Bam, I said, I already know the man's ceiling. I know there's not going to be growth and development. But for the Heat, I like what Jimmy's doing. There's some guys who are going to be trade bait. Why is Kyle Lowry's still on my team. I will hype on that all the time because what had led to our disaster was we just, have the big boys who just always got hurt. I miss Goran Dragic. He's on the Bulls. And I think the other thing I would say is for Andrew's purposes, Paolo Banchero is doing excellent, but that team is so far back. And this is what I hate about rebuilding teams for stuff in Orlando and even in Detroit. You might have guys who legitimately look the part, but because your roster is so deficient and everything else that you're making, you have no bearings of success. Yeah. Cleveland still scares me because that whole Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland.
Cleveland is like the best example of a team that actually knew how to rebuild.
Well, you just traded guys that didn't want to be there, and then you signed the right guys.
Exactly,
the Jazz
they did it. They did it correctly. That's they could have. I mean, they could have completely tanked, but it seemed like they had a plan with the tank.
They hired the right people too, because you got to remember this was the organization that had Jim Boeheim as Boeheim, thank you, Jim Boeheim as their coach, and that didn't go for fruition. The guy had no experience going into Michigan, so they put in the right people. And it's interesting, but basketball is always a hard game to predict, and that's why the coaches are so important, and not just when to play by minutes or anything like that, but just have the common sense. And I say that because I was driving from the gym yesterday, and you know what the first thought that came to my mind was? Is Tom Thibodeau still coaching the Knicks? Because you think about it, the whole concept of structure and scheme really is, I don't want to say it's irrelevant. Oh, okay. He's still coaching the Knicks. I had to confirm it. Yeah. It's irrelevant, but it is kind of irrelevant when all things considered. It just means nothing. So that's my very early basketball predictions and comments, because it's not going to be something that Francisco and I really emphasize much on until I would say a month from now. December is when I'll kind of come into it. People are like, the Warriors are losing. I'm sorry. That team could succeed on,
it doesn't
on a
matter.
6 seed.
The regulars, they know they're getting into the playoffs.
But the reason why it matters to the fan base and to the pundits is because for football, it's no longer fun predicting stuff. This is the first time in years they were like, oh, the AFC, we got something going on. And, for baseball, it's already over. And they just announced a manager of the years, and we could segue into that because I have 2 cents on that hardcore, what they gave to Showalter and Francona. But with basketball, let's have fun with it. I think this is good for basketball to be quiet for a little bit because there's been some high political charge stuff. Since even the season started. I'm not even talking about Kyrie, but Ime Udoka and everybody had a damn opinion about whether or not it was okay for somebody to just flash his penis to a female employee. It's not. Sorry to tell you guys that, but y'all, ball is life, right? But yeah, that's just some stuff on basketball, and then you have to get that pepperoni, Francisco.
I already did. It's on its way. It's gonna be 35 minutes for us. So in the middle of the cage, I'm just gonna walk out. So that's what's gonna happen. Okay.
You're gonna pull a no show.
So yeah. Celtics are first in the East, and Milwaukee, and Atlanta's had a good start. Cleveland is there. Our boy Jared Allen. He's one of us, as we all know. So there you go.
One of us.
Yep.
One of us.
Then in the West, you got the Blazers. Good for Dame. Good for the Blazers for starting off well for now. The Denver Nuggets with the Paris Rockets, and then Utah doing their thing without Donovan Mitchell. So that's going all right.
Everybody, Mitchell, Gobert,
everybody's gone.
Snyder, Quinn Snyder on his meth up ways.
So that's the magic of Dwayne Wade. There you go. The Grizz and all this stuff, and then the Suns are the Sun, but the Heat beat the Suns. That was nice.
That was so good. I texted you that. I'm like, I needed this. All is fine.
Yeah, I wish I had watched the game, but oh yeah, that's right. I watched Black Adam yesterday. I went out.
Thoughts?
It's okay. It's good.
My problem is with these big movies, because that and Wakanda Forever came out, and I had no incentive to see either of them because I have this OLED television. I can take pee breaks anytime I want, and they're going to come to the scheme or the streams anyway. So if I'm paying for Disney and I'm paying for HBO, now Max I might eventually delete because the big excess that they've done with everything makes me not like that inclined to continue. But things be that.
Yeah, but it was fine. It's fine. It wasn't bad. It's a fine movie, I think. Hawkman. I liked Hawkman in the movie. So I was like, Dr. Fate's in it with Pierce Brosnan. So that's pretty cool to see him.
The third best James Bond.
So then you got that, and then you had Atom Smasher and Cyclone as well. So the action bits were pretty good. So there you go. And Dwayne Johnson was Dwayne Johnson. So that's it. So it's fine. It's a fine movie. I think it's the DC universe movies are starting to finally like get a feel for once.
They know what they have to be.
Yeah, I think they finally have some actual showrunners that kind of know what they're doing and actually care about the properties and everything like that. So that's cool. I think a lot of these companies are starting to realize, like, hey, after what Marvel's been doing, we should get people that actually know what they're doing with these things. That's why, even Sega, they want a guy who knows like how to run the Sonic lore, and I'm waiting to see how I can apply for that job. I swear, if I become the Sonic lore head, I am quitting my job today. That's what's gonna happen.
I mean, that's your that's
dream
like your
job, man.
that's your LinkedIn right there.
Yeah, man. I'm
proficient in going fast.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still not. I'm not sold yet on the voice of Sonic yet. Everybody in Sonic Frontiers sounds like they're like in their mid-20s now. They're deeper voices, like everything. Like that's what's going on. I don't know what's happening there. But all right. So you did the thing with the NBA. I'll do the NHL because I have been following the NHL.
And I can actually chime in because it's something that I know.
So NHL. I guess some big things. I'll just go through the standings. Because that's kind of where you kind of lay out. The Boston Bruins, I laid into them last week. Andrew, I don't know if you want to get some licks in as well while we're here for what they did.
Yeah. I got to give props. This kind of gets overlooked in the whole thing. And, rightfully so to some extent, because what the Bruins did is just insane. And it's a stain on the league. It's a stain on some extent to the entire league. Urinane Tree always calls it the old boys club, which is basically they think they can get away with anything without any sort of repercussions, which I think is absolutely a thing.
Yeah,
that's how you got the thing with what was his name, Kyle Shore.
Which one? Beach? With
Kyle Beach,
Blackhawks? Yes.
Yeah. Something beach related.
Yeah.
Shore
and then you had
Beach.
and I mentioned it last week as well with Logan Mailloux with the Montreal Canadiens, but I think Bettman also said that he is also not eligible to play in the NHL.
Correct.
So
I give Bettman props for apparently learning something from the Kyle Beach incident.
Yeah.
I don't know how much he learned and whether it's just him, putting it on for show or if he actually truly believes it. You follow?
Yeah, and also you don't want these scandals. Like the scandals with the NBA with Kyrie and all that stuff. Like you gotta snuff these things out. You really do, and you have the power as the commissioner to do that.
Right. But I want to give props to the players. The Boston Bruin players. You would think,
on the ice we hate them, but off the ice, Patrice Bergeron. I mentioned that Patrice Bergeron literally has a suite always reserved for special needs kids. And of course, Brad Marchand is a saint off the ice and a bastion of progressiveness.
That's unfortunately there's that kind of cognitive dissonance. The announcers on NESN are total homers.
Yeah, they're probably the worst homers in the NHL.
They're probably some of the worst announcers in sports, not just NHL.
Indeed.
Brad Marchand, which to his credit, he's kind of been cutting down on it recently. He's maybe starting to realize that he doesn't need to do that shit to get by, because
I wouldn't say that.
he's getting somewhat better. He's not as bad as he was when he was doing it all the time. And he is getting better with that. And on top of that, he's showing out finally what kind of skills he has. But Patrice Bergeron, which he did something else this week. It was when Boston was playing the Sabres. It was like yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yes.
Someone noticed prior to the pregame, the opening face-off, that Bergeron was talking to, I forget which player it was on the Sabres.
I think it was, I think Logan Thompson? No, not Logan Thompson. What am I talking about?
Familiar.
No, not Logan Thompson. I'm sorry. That's the Golden Knights. I forgot his name. I'll find it. He was talking to this Sabres player. He gave him the tap on the legs with the stick. He was talking to him. No one really knew what was going on. People were just kind of assuming, wishing him a good Thompson.
season.
There we go. I got the Thompsons.
You were close. They were assuming, it's the vet giving the youngster some tips or just wishing him a good season. But no, it was Bergeron asking the Thompson how his wife was doing, because his wife a few years ago had a cancerous growth removed from her leg. She's luckily okay. It wasn't like malignant tumor or anything, but like that's just awesome.
And you know where that connection comes from? Bergeron, when he was a rookie, played with Thompson's dad.
Oh, so I did not know that.
Yeah, so there's layers to this. So that's
so it's like
a thing.
Like that's just Patrice Bergeron. In terms, he's an offensive defenseman, or he's a defensive forward, which I love those.
I covered this in one of our minis when we were on our off season. He's a future Hall of Famer, so
without question.
Yeah,
and even if somehow he doesn't make it into the Hall of Fame as a player, he's
going into the Hall of Fame as a player. I've looked at the numbers and the stats. He's got it all.
But he's a Hall of Fame person.
Okay.
So Bergeron, Marchand, all of them came out and denounced the Bruins management for signing that player. I forget his name.
They said it without saying it, because they have to toe. They have to be careful with some of the words, but they said it without saying it.
Which props to them, because these are the guys paying their paycheck, signing their paycheck. So they could easily have just, said nothing or said some kind of politically correct answer. But they came out and took a stand. So, understandably so, a lot of hate is going toward the Bruins management for what they did, but I don't think enough credit is being given to the players for standing up and doing the right thing. Because Francisco, I'm assuming Charles didn't, but Francisco, did you see that letter that the boy wrote?
I read that.
I read it. I remember I covered it last week. I covered everything about it.
Remember, I'm trying to learn to continue my hockey education, Andrew.
But
I'm going to be a
real
boy.
This isn't even like a hockey thing. It's just Cam Neely and Don Sweeney being fucking assholes and being dumbasses. That's what it is. That's what it was. And you're giving thanks to the Bruins players. Last week I gave thanks to the hockey community at large, because
I agree.
Everybody got on. Of course, you had trolls and legit people who are like, oh, he was 14. Bullshit. Fuck you guys. He did some psychopathic behavior for years.
There are certain things. There are certain things that 14-year-olds do that are 14-year-old things that, you can kind of, it's like, okay,
yeah,
it's a 14-year-old, you're stupid. Like, there's the occasional, like, throwing eggs on a house or toilet papering a tree, or who knows, maybe
prank
light
phone calls.
trespassing.
Yeah, exactly.
I lit a firecracker at my house.
Yeah.
It's
dumb shit.
It's hooligan stuff.
Yeah.
14-year-olds do that. And I mean, it's not ideal, but 14-year-olds are idiots. And I'm not saying they're developmentally, their brains are not to the point where they realize what they're doing is stupid. But to assault and batter a boy, call him names,
not names, racist names.
The R word, the N word, to like, that's not something a normal 14-year-old does. And who knows, maybe it's nature, maybe he was born that way, maybe he learned it from his parents. I'm getting a little into psychology here, nature versus nurture. But it doesn't matter. Doing that at any, like, if it's a little 5-year-old that's maybe heard that word, okay, maybe it's not ideal, but they don't know what they're doing. A 14-year-old knows what they're doing when they say that. They know what they're doing when they batter somebody.
So and
that it kind of reminds me a little bit of Josh Hader. He got to go on pretty much scot-free. He got traded a big mega deal to the San Diego Padres, even though it was uncovered that he said a lot of racist stuff on his Twitter back when he was younger. Again, that's not something, that's not a normal teenager sort of hooligan thing. So I'm glad that at least one person is suffering some sort of repercussions.
Yeah. So,
and listen, you to some extent you got to feel for the kid because
no, and that was the thing I distinguished last week. People kept calling him a kid. He's not a fucking kid. He's a man right now. So he's a fucking grown ass adult. Even at 14, you're old enough to know, but he's a grown ass adult right now. And somebody tweeted out that the thing is, yeah, he did that stuff at 14, but he hasn't done anything as an adult to show any remorse or make up for what he did, aside from a fucking snapshot, a Snapchat, whatever message. That was it. That was the only thing. Like, he's done nothing as an adult to better his situation, other than his family trying to make it seem like, oh, what he was like, I was 14. I was like, no. What have you done? What have you done to make up for this? And I made the example of Craig McTavish, who unfortunately killed someone when he was drinking and driving. Okay, and ever since then he's kept in touch with the family. Ever since then, and he does countless since that like going to schools, the dangers of drinking and driving. Like he's done that for his career. He spent time in jail too. He was in prison for 2 years for that. And then he won the Stanley Cup with the Oilers during their dynasties and all that stuff. But he's done his part to make up for what he did. Where this guy hasn't done shit.
I know, and kudos to him. I mean, he obviously knows that no matter what he does in life, he's not going to be able to bring that person back.
But he's tried.
He's at least trying to make some sort of reparation
or make some good in this world. Whereas this guy hasn't done shit.
There's a saying. It's I'm kind of paraphrasing it a little bit, but it's, you're not sorry you did it. You're sorry you got caught. So he's not sorry he did this to this boy. He's a man now. He's not sorry he did it. He's only sorry that someone called him out on it.
Yeah, and that he's still being called out on it.
And so, fuck that man.
There we go. That's the capstone.
I'm calling him a kid relative because he's not like
he's like 21, 22.
I know, but like I feel like like Nikita Kucherov or Andrei Vasilevsky, he's 27. He's still younger than me, but I feel like he's close enough in age. Like someone who's 21 is someone that my mom or my sister.
If you're old enough to drink, you ain't a kid no more.
Yeah, but you get my point, though. It's
unless
weird
you're a
calling...
senior citizen, or it's your parents. That's the only way.
But yeah, he doesn't deserve this NHL career.
Yeah, go to the KHL. All right, go to the KHL. Be on that side of World War III. Alrighty. Sorry, Andrew. I just got to keep it moving because we talked about it last week and extent. But I bet. Plus, I want to talk substantive stuff about the NHL. So yeah, the Bruins are in first place regardless of all of the stuff that happened around them. So there you go with that. The New Jersey Devils off to a great start. It was funny. I don't know if you saw the video. Earlier this season, you had Devils fans yelling out in the rafters when the Devils didn't start off so hot. They were like, "Fire Lindy," because Lindy Ruff's their head coach. Fire Lindy, and then like I think a couple days before, I saw a video and people were chanting, "Sorry, Lindy." They're 12-3. They're first place in the Metro Division, and they're on a 9-game winning streak right now. So they're fine. The Devils are fine. The rebuild is going off swimmingly, and they've got one of the best head coaches in the NHL right now, coaching them behind the bench. So there you go. The Blue Jackets are awful.
Just for reference, Charles, Lindy Ruff won at least one Stanley Cup. It was with the '99 Dallas Stars, which...
No, he didn't.
It wasn't? No, that was Hitchcock. No, that was Hitchcock.
Yeah, he was
the coach of the Sabres.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, he was like the Sabres coach for like ever. It was him and Barry Trotz were like in Buffalo and Nashville forever. And then they finally were fired after like 20-something years coaching those teams or something like that. So, Lindy went to Dallas. He did coach Dallas, but not at that time.
But Andrew, is he handsome? That's what matters to me in the NFL coaches or the NHL coaches.
He's decently looking for an older individual.
He's got a good stash.
He has a good stash.
That's basically his look.
Well, no. He doesn't have a stash. He has a full beard.
He has a full beard now? He used to have a stash.
Maybe it's a goatee.
Okay. Either way. So the Devils are off to a good start. And then, the NHL is kind of playing out the way it probably should. I mean, it's Boston, Toronto, Tampa, and Florida, top 4 in the Atlantic. And then you have the 3 New York teams and Carolina as the top of the Metro Division. So, but, I mean, I can't see the Penguins being down that far. Anyways, it's the NHL. Things are going to be close. Western Conference, Winnipeg's in first. Colorado's defending champions. They're off to an okay start, so they'll be fine. A lot of these teams are going to be fine. The Golden Knights are still have their window open. So, and the Seattle Kraken are in third place in the Pacific Division, so they are actually competitive this year. So that's nice to see.
Here, Francisco, I'm going to put
and the Ducks are awful.
Pictures of Ruff into the group so you can show Charles. And put them on screen.
I'll look it up right now. So, because that's basically.
No, I have them already.
Lindy
I have pics already.
So, he does have a goatee now, but he had the stash when he was playing. Charles, if you can see it on the screen.
And I also added in a picture of him when he was younger as a player, just for good measure.
He kind of just reminds me of like Bill Cowher's like Canadian cousin.
that's Lindy Ruff.
And again, he is older. He's not, he's not Martin St. Louis.
There you go. That's Lindy Ruff.
But for his age, he's not bad. I mean, he's much
60s,
better looking
I would
than.
think.
He's older for an NHL coach. Let's be honest.
Okay. Alrighty. So that's Lindy Ruff, everybody. All right. So we're at hour 36, and we already talked to the NHL, NBA, and all right, let's hop on board the petty train, guys.
Choo Charlie.
All right. So petty train. We're gonna talk about the NFL the past week. I did watch some games. I saw the end of the Titans game. I saw the Dolphins game, of course. And I saw the Packers and Cowboys game. Okay, let's just go down the list. All right. So NFL scores. Let's go, Charles. All right. So let me get the scores up there, and my pizza is gonna be here very soon, guys. I'm excited. I might just run out here in the middle of this, but week 10. Thursday night, the Panthers beat the Falcons in that awful division. So
snooze fest.
Yeah. The Buccaneers beat the Seahawks in Germany. So
did y'all see the country roads?
Oh, what? Yeah, they were singing. Yeah, I saw that in Germany.
That was awesome.
Actually, you guys keep talking.
All right, I will take the reins. So I guess we're still torching Germany for World War II, because if you had to pay me to see a 46-year-old Tom Brady and a 32-year-old Geno Smith to be at the prime time, this is your first ever winning or seeing and viewing a NFL game, I don't know. I would have concerns, Andrew. But apparently Tom Brady is the first starting NFL quarterback to win games in England, Mexico, Germany, and the U.S. So we are going to now probably dub him as Mr. Worldwide or Tommy Worldwide. Tommy Worldwide, because Pitbull's going to have some beef with it, because God knows. But you talk about TB12, now you have to go TB Worldwide. So that's the point of interest I would go from there. Did you watch the Country Road stuff as well? I think it's probably the most universal song that we can get to foreign nations to sing on. So yay us.
I mean, I guess, yeah, but what the hell? Sorry, I was looking on Twitter, and there's the hashtag RIP Jimmy Fallon is trending.
Well, Twitter, everybody's dead half the time and on live, so I can't use that for credit.
So, I mean, it's kind of weird that song. That's kind of a random song for German, for really anyone for that matter, anyone internationally to know that well. I mean, they didn't know the full lyrics. I mean,
I don't even know the full lyrics at this point.
Pizza's here, guys. All right, I'm back.
We're talking about Country Road. If it's the most unifying American song for all the nations, and Tom Brady is now Tommy Worldwide.
Yeah, he's 2-0 since the divorce, as Barry McCockner tweeted out. So there you go. All right, so yeah,
Giselle, we love you.
Yeah, don't worry.
Tommy, Papa
Timothy,
John's.
all of them.
You actually want to taste some gluten for once? Go ahead. I'm here. Okay, bring the kids along. The Detroit Lions beat the Chicago Bears.
I feel bad for Justin Fields.
Oh, we all feel bad for Justin Fields.
I'm happy for Jared Goff, though, and I'm happy for Dan Campbell, but...
Yeah. No, Justin Fields is going to die out in Chicago. He has to get out.
Chicago likes to trade away quarterbacks all the time.
Well,
so I have a question.
But
I have a question for you guys. I have a question. So, is there a point, like, we keep saying, Justin Fields needs to get out of Chicago, or, some people are saying that Mitch Trubisky shouldn't have been in Chicago. You notice there's a lot of Chicago. So does there become a point where a franchise is unsalvageable and no one should go there to play?
Well,
Chicago's been unsalvageable since 1996.
Well, Chicago, Chicago is just they've never had a good quarterback. ever
And they live
in
in
their
their own
entire
shadow
franchise
of the
history.
80s.
Like even McMahon in 1985, like he wasn't even good.
Jay Cutler is your best quarterback.
Yeah.
Let that come
He's
into it
probably-
and how
yeah.
much that hurts.
Yeah.
Rex Grossman was your second best quarterback.
Yeah.
That hurts even more.
Yeah.
And then Kyle Orton was your third best quarterback.
Yeah. Justin Fields might be the best talented quarterback they've had in a while, but he's not going to get everything to show in Chicago unless they get like new ownership or new management. So,
and they also trade away, Andrew, their top receivers. Not receivers, sorry, top captains on defense with Roquan Smith and then Robert Quinn. So because of that, you're always going to be a little bit at a disadvantage.
Which
That's
is
why
weird because Chicago is mainly a defensive team. That's like anytime they've actually been good is because of their defense. It's never been good.
One of them's an aging vet, and the other reason why is because the market for linebackers are overpaid, and they want to pay Roquan Smith, which goes back to a position that I'm going to say now that I didn't have this same agreement 5 years ago. Just get rid of the salary cap at this point, because this is why you can't have nice things.
They don't want that
because the teams that aren't going to, but the teams that aren't going to spend like the Tennessee Titans, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. But, we go from there. But, yeah, so that's the thing about Chicago. I don't think they actually do get a lot of free agents per se. They just never seem to keep
it's a big city in Chicago.
Guys.
A lot of guys are from there too. So, I mean, it's
like the only person they refused. Yeah, the only person they refused to pay recently was Allen Robinson. And you know what? That might have been a blessing in disguise because he's not doing anything in L.A., so, it's a little bit of everything, if that makes sense to answer your question, bud.
All righty.
Yeah.
All right. The Dolphins beat the Browns.
Thank you. Because
the women's rights were not set back. So that's a plus there. But, man, there's a Dolphins fans are completely inundated with the Kool-Aid right now. Nothing that's going on with the Dolphins in these weeks, because Tua came back at the right time to face all of these really bad teams, is showing me that he's it right now. He's got to do it against the real team. And Dolphins don't face the real team until 3 weeks from now when they face the San Francisco 49ers. Because they got a bye week this week. They got the... who's next week? The Houston Texans next week.
That's not a real team.
So, and then they'll face San Francisco, I think the LA Chargers, the Green Bay Packers, all of their division rivals as well to end out the season. That's what's going to happen. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Let's go to Buffalo in December and see if you can actually win, Tua. Go to Buffalo in December because you haven't won over there lately at all. Actually, you've never won in Buffalo. All right? So, let's see what happens there, okay? How about an actual Jets team that can actually maybe do something against you? How about Bill Belichick in December, right? In Foxborough. Let's see if you can actually win, dude. All right. So there you go. I'm not there yet. He ain't it yet. Not yet, guys. Okay.
Can't do much if they cover Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill from going underneath.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Let's see when actual real teams face them. Okay. Jimmy G's gonna come in. It's gonna be too handsome and sexy. Like it's not gonna be good for anybody. Well, it'll be good for us. It'll be good for everybody, but like from an aesthetic standpoint. Okay. Next, the Broncos and the Titans.
All right. Remember when I said last week Andrew wasn't here, so I'll give a very brief thing, that whether or not it was Malik Willis or Ryan Tannehill starting as quarterback, you would have the same result. Ryan Tannehill started. We won 17-10 because of the fact that Russ is just not that good, and he's cooking Kraft Lunchables in a microwave kind of quality.
And he's burning them too. He's burning them too.
And if anybody says, "Oh, Nakeem High Westbrook, Tannehill opens up," I'm like, is it a player that opens up or is it the playbook? Because I don't know, man. It was pretty bad. God bless that defense. I feel like that's a statement that comes in. It's just that offense. And because the ass backwards is part of it's the OC. Part of it is the fact that we just don't have a good scheme in place. And the other part is because we're giving the 1972 masturbatory tug and rub and tug to how football used to be. And that's why, I don't know if you were laughing in the group chat, but I was laughing, sending it saying, we have 2 passing touchdowns? Is that allowed?
Yeah.
That's like being a kid who's at the holiday and you're able to, like, you know, curse at the holiday table
the Titans
for the first
won
time.
17-10, and there was no Henry Handy. So.
Yeah, and no Henry Handy. But here, can I tell you something that's going to excite you? With the Choo Choo Train next week, the Thanksgiving edition, might be something that you guys want to be invested in. Guess who we play Thursday?
Oh, yes.
We play
indeed.
Aaron Rodgers, who's going to be coming in with that arrogant stank, and everybody's going to be dick riding it. I'm saying it like that.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you know, they won a game against the Cowboys.
We ain't dead yet.
The Titans, and, you know, Christian Watson's setting out, and they ain't dead yet. Our defense is actually pretty hard. And literally, if we lose, I might, you know, do the holiday hang yourself, because I would be crestfallen. Because every time we play, sorry we went dark, but every time we play Rodgers and them, we lose. I need to have that victory because, you know, we were deprived of it against Kansas, and we should have been in Kansas City. Damn it, we should have beat him, and we didn't because Mike Vrabel. But Mike, hear me out, because I've been advocating for you to get fired for the last 7 weeks. Have I not?
Yeah.
I will start a GoFundMe if I have to get you out there. If I have to lose to that man, that fraud, the guy who was just blaming everybody to every ability, and he takes solace by the fact that he beat the Cowboys, who are debatably frauds themselves. The Cowboys are the most quiet NFC player in the game because no one really wants to talk about them because they lost their shine to the Eagles and they lost their shine to the Giants. It's kind of sad. But yeah, Petty Train, Choo Choo Charlie, he's going to be conducting that stuff, and it's going to be hardcore because if we lose, I'm taking all the names. I will take the Petty Train and say we're only making one stop and one stop only because of Final Destination, and then I just can't lose Aaron Rodgers, man. I need this. I need this for me.
That was a slight review of also the Cowboys and Packers game, so we'll skip that. The Vikings and the Bills game. I saw the end of that too.
That was good.
Yeah, that was a good game.
Everybody wants to say, you know, this is what I hate about pundits and everything. They want to call Tua an MVP. They want to call Josh Allen an MVP when this is really just them figured out. And they forgot the true 2 MVPs, Lamar and, you know, Patrick, just kicking in. And then there's Josh Allen just making ill-advised throws. And then there's Stephon Diggs and Justin Jefferson just making amazing catches. Holy crap, boys.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be hyperbolic and just be like, oh, yeah, you know, catch of the year. But damn, that was some good-ish.
Vikings are looking good.
But you know what?
But
be good at the right time, right?
Well, I mean, they're good enough. Good enough. We'll see what happens when the playoffs actually start and Kirk Cousins has to do something.
If anything, it's a good thing for Kevin O'Connell, who's like 36 years old in his first time head coach gig. And he's just like, I'm just going to let my best players play. Unlike Mike Zimmer, who's just like, 1972 masturbatory Dalvin Cook run, Alexander Madison run.
New York Giants beat the Texans. Yeah.
So I have a friend who's a Giants fan. It's like you're playing Houston. Houston right now is on like, you know, single A quality, Division 2 FCS,
the worst,
FBS
the
stuff.
worst 7-2 team of all time. The Chiefs beat the Jaguars. The Jaguars actually kind of made a game of it, a little bit.
Patrick Mahomes, he has like 26 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. He's doing the same thing they did in the MVP year, and we say he's not good.
Yeah,
we gotta say Josh Allen. We want to say Tua. And look, I don't mind Tua's progression. I told you he's going to get the Philip Rivers Award of being an above average
regular season quarterback.
Oh, that was just a damn insult. But you know, this is the thing. Stop giving the flowers to teams who haven't earned it when the other ones have been constantly gardening. Just say them, Lamar. Just give that love.
All right, the Steelers beat the Saints. I don't even know that was happening.
The most inconsequential game.
The Colts beat the Raiders.
Oh man, all right. Good job just Saturday.
Yeah.
I didn't have an opinion one way or another.
But it's the Raiders.
But I know the one thing I said was, wait, Josh McDaniels.
Did you see Derek Carr's
oh
press
my
conference?
God, he hates Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
You can just tell, and I understand. But you don't come in with that, you know, that thing. It's kind of like
we've said it.
So
he's gonna get out of Vegas, but it's gonna be too late by that point. It's gonna be way too late.
But let's say this though. it's not as if he was always the guy who had the potential. He is by no means the Phil Rivers, award winner. He was never in there, but what he was is just the serviceable guy. Because you know what his really ceiling is? It's going to make people kind of laugh. I feel like he could be the Trent Dilfer or the Brad Johnson. If we just put him on a more competent team, you might actually get far in the playoffs. Because last year, they made the playoffs.
He's got more talent than those guys, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, but like on the quality of what you could do with him on another team. Or even to a degree, like the Ryan Tannehill effect of what he did in Tennessee when we got him. I'll say it like that. That's my mindset. But you want to see people succeed. I'm not a hater anymore. I used to hate all the time. I only hate like 3 individuals in the NFL, and none of it's really Derek Carr. Because, it's just whatever. If anything, it's just like, hey, you're still getting a guy who's a quality starter. Because I don't think you could put your Deshaun Watson in there, because I'm going to use him as the example, because there was probably a whole lot of other teams trying to call for him that just don't want to admit it. And LA was the place. You can tell. You just know. You got that vibe. I got that vibe. We all got that vibe. But it isn't as if you can put an instant quarterback in there to fix the problems, because I don't think the problems were fixable, because that whole defense got gutted completely. And you have Devontae Adams, but guys on offense can't play defense, and that's why I always tell people.
Yep. The Cardinals win without Kyler.
Last year I said, would it be fair to say that if Colt McCoy would have won him that playoff game, and now I feel very vindicated. Very vindicated. Vindicated.
Yeah.
Also, DeAndre Hopkins is a damn beast.
Yeah, and
just so good.
The Rams are not doing great with this title defense at all.
Everybody's hurt. Everybody's tired. There's a consequence to trading away all those
Sean
picks.
McVay's probably not going to stay. It's all kinds of weird shit. Seems like everybody's checking out there. We're going to talk about Packers and Cowboys.
Frauds.
The Niners beat the Chargers.
Justin Herbert has a very weird, divisive standpoint in the NFL. Either people love him, people hate him because he's compared to Tua, and Tua's technically better statistics, or people hate him because he hasn't won any of the big games. I'm like, there's plenty of quarterbacks, including 2 quarterbacks who used to play for the Chargers that really amounted to nothing, including Drew Brees and Philip Rivers. It's just a badly run organization, man.
Alrighty. And the Commanders actually beat the Eagles.
That whole game was trash. Just of how it ended, but how was it between
missed calls and the Dolphins celebrate and consume all of the alcohol.
Yeah.
Anybody sick of that? Does anybody not care about Mercury Morris and all the other people? I'm like, okay, you're not even the best Super Bowl team to win it.
Only Dolphins fans care about it because it's all that they've got left. So
yeah, because here's the thing. If you're talking about do you have the perfect season, you can call yourself the best perfect season team, but by no means can you call yourself the best NFL team that ever existed, because I look at how you won that championship game. In theory, it should be the 49ers who are the best Super Bowl winning team ever, because did they not blow out the Chargers back in the day, 50-something to 14? It's what you're willing to conceptualize.
They're not the best NFL team of all time. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of solo player games or 1 or 2 lost teams that won the Super Bowl that were better.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I think it's because I live in Florida. That's why I have that whole vibe.
Alrighty. Okay. So that's the NFL. That's it, guys. So, well, Charles, we're at an hour 54. Are you ready to head to the cage?
I'm ready. I'm ready. As SpongeBob would say. I just can't say with that kind of enthusiasm that he has, even though I have kind of a high-pitched voice. So welcome, everybody. Your weekly Truplex, The Cage with Charles. Full disclaimer, wrestling is not fake. It is a stage fight. It is scripted. It's a song and dance about men and women trying to beat the holy hell out of each other, win championships, establish their legacy, become phenomenons in the wrestling industry, and then try to buy my attention. Because, now... I mentioned it last week. Andrew wasn't here. It's not going to be a very WWE heavy focus. It's going to be AEW because we have a pay-per-view this week. But I have 2 pay-per-views one this week, one next week. I have AEW's Full Gear. We'll talk about that in a second. And then next week is Survivor Series War Games. And then there's some other stuff going on. So we'll touch lightly on WWE. NXT is going on right now. They have a couple title defenses. They have Mandy Rose versus Alba Fire and a last woman standing match. I'm expecting Alba Fire is going to win that. So Toxic Attraction get called up and the main roster get shored up a little bit. Andrew, I gave a review about Crown Jewel last week. I'll give you the small synopsis. It was not that good for a Hunter era pay-per-view. It was the first one that was kind of disappointing. There were some highlights. Logan Paul stuff that we talked about was surprising. I think he did exceptionally well. And I was, dare say, it made you appreciate Roman because I don't think anybody else could have that kind of match to put on a 4.5 star match with a guy who's only had 3 wrestling matches. And also quality to Logan Paul for caring too and doing something. But I don't think other, champions or possible champions, Drew, could have done so. I do feel that there's still some staleness going on in Roman's reign. Ha ha ha! You see what I did there? But it has. Thank you. It has. Every now and then, Andrew and I have the ideas of puns. But you do get some livelihood in the Sami Zayn, Jey Uso storyline. That's just going to break me. It's going to break me. I have a We the One shirt. I just can't. I'm not going to, put anything as an honorary use.
I was calling back to it in Splatoon.
Yes. Oh my God. Is that not our favorite thing? So Andrew, when you get a Switch, you will be part of this. But every time like Francisco and I are pure dominance on that, we always send each other like the bloodline stuff, and I just love it because it's just hysterical for me. But it's just good timing. So Survivor Series next week, the build's kind of been asked. You got 2 weeks. They've announced some of the teams for Damage Control versus Team Bianca Belair. It's going to be a war game, so we'll talk more about that next week because, like I said, wrestling's kind of thankfully on a downturn, not in a bad way, but it's just calming down a little bit so I can talk about some other things, which makes me a happy camper. So let's talk about, I got nothing on New Japan. They're doing the contest for the television title. I haven't really viewed into it. Impact. Can we talk about NWA? We don't talk about that, National Wrestling Alliance. Not the same ones that you thought about in the old territory days where it's WCW before they came into it. It was the territories. Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins bought it, is now owned to it. He has said some salacious things. And the idea is a couple of years ago, they did the NWA Empower, and it was an all wrestling female pay-per-view, which I think is good to broadcast known talent, rookies, and new blood that's coming in there. And they haven't had it happen. So there's been some inflammatory statements made about him for a couple of reasons. One, he put Tyrus, as he was a former Brodus Clay, over in WWE as your new NWA World Champion when he won it over the weekend in a triple threat match against Cardona and Trevor Murdoch. And then so Murdoch and Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins. Yeah, I tried to watch a couple into it, but it was too old school revive for me to enjoy. And what, Charles, don't you love the old school? Yeah, and I could watch it on the WWE Network or Peacock for the old matches to appreciate the style. But I need some modern day modernizations, partially speaking. But the whole thing about it was the controversies between Trevor Murdoch, who was their former champion, so essentially the face of that corporation, and then Billy Corgan of the Smashing Pumpkins, who makes one of my favorite songs, Disarmed, on the Smashing Pumpkins. It's probably like a top 10 song for me of all time. It's just so touch-breaking. I heard it the first time I watched The Shield Season 5, episode 9. It's that damn good. Where they said that they don't believe the women wrestlers were actually a draw, the same equivalent that a lot of the male wrestlers could be. It's really paraphrasing what was said, but having the same chilling of damning effects. And it's led to certain people leaving, like Nick Aldis, who his wife is Mickie James of WWE fandom, who's doing her own thing everywhere, who may be retiring soon or not. He bailed out. And it's kind of like that thing where you can have women being, a draw as wrestlers. So some women who are better performers than men. I can name you a lot of them off the cuff on both the big brand organizations. Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and then over in AEW, I'm a big fan of what Jake Cargill's doing. Britt Baker's good. Like, there's a lot of them. And I will watch their main event matches. Hell, I gave props to Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa for their, basically their St. Patrick Massacre match that they had that was dangerous and awesome at the same time. So to say that they can't be a draw, that they can't host a pay-per-view, when people understand there's an oversaturation of wrestling, but you have two fan bases. I love Glow.
Yeah.
I only watched one season, but I loved it
Oh,
because
show.
it had three things I want. Three things I love:
right?
Allison Brie, the '80s, and wrestling.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. That's why they canceled it. I'm like, I'm not going to watch it now because you ruined it, and I hate you. You're tacky, and I hate you. But this concept, like I do, WWE did a Women's Evolution pay-per-view, which had an excellent last women's standing match between Charlotte and Becky Lynch, which they should continue. Do it, Hunter, make it happen. And then AEW tends to spotlight the women frequently, and I think it's of great benefit going from there. But so to say they can't be a draw when some of the wrestlers are just very stale in what they do and can't bring in character, well, then, that's on you for one, not developing it as a storyline branch, and then two, just for like limiting your expectations. So that's my shit talk about Billy Corgan, especially Pumpkin's overrated. Fuck it, I say it. Sherrod Brock isn't mean anything. I'm sorry. We still love Disarmed, and then Bullet. Was it World's a Vampire? I can't think of it now because I'm like spitballing, but I'll remember the song later.
I think Andrew can help.
Anywho, AEW. Yeah, it's bullet with a bulletproof wings or something like that. Whatever it is, not important at the moment as I'm trying to fight Krang and do this show at the same time because I'm on story mode. Or not story mode, but arcade. So if I die, it's over. Bullet for broken wings or something like that. It's gonna bother me, Andrew. It's gonna bother me. So anyway, Full Gear, this pay-per-view. Is Full Gear important, boys? Kind of, and I'll tell you why. Because Full Gear was the first pay-per-view that I bought in AEW, if you remember exactly a year ago, where everything went wrong because I tried to get it from the Amazon app.
Yeah.
And then what it taught me.
Oh, was that the one where the guy tried to like sit on the grenade or something?
Oh no, that was no, it wasn't. It wasn't. But I know which one you're talking about. We're talking about the experience I had because I tried to order it through Amazon, and because it was a digital copy, Amazon has a 24-hour hold, so I was not getting it live stream. So I had to cancel it and then order it through the Bleacher Report, and I didn't even get to see the full pay-per-view one setting. The one that you're talking about wasn't Full Gear. It was the pay-per-view before that, not Revolution, but All Out, I think, between Moxley and Kenny Omega, which is relevant into beginning. So I have not been following this cycle for AEW's pay-per-view build-up, and I just don't know why. I don't know if it's because I've been too occupied with work, or I might be a little disinterested. Sometimes these things happen. You get old. There's too much wrestling. There are some matches, though, that I'm afraid I'm excited for, and there's some matches I'm kind of a little bit on. My bigger complaint, boys, if I could be very candid with you, is that there's still this is AEW. Tony Khan, I respect you. I like what you're doing. I like what you're selling me, but this is my big issue. There's still too much Ring of Honor in my AEW. I can't have too much peanut butter with my chocolate and too much chocolate to my peanut butter. I need a healthy balance, and I understand that you want that Ring of Honor balance to come in. But let's go over the card, shall we? So we're going to have, as expected and as announced, screw you, Krang, I just beat you. I'm coming for you, Super Shredder. You're going to have, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal versus Sting and Darby Allin. Oh, shit, it's Shredder. I forgot about that. I am not excited for that match. So Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett and Sting have that history from their WCW days and from Impact coming into it. I'm not overly fond of the thing coming into it because I feel like this pay-per-view, less is more. Sometimes I think 6 to 7 matches is your sweet spot, because to demand somebody to watch 4 hours of pay-per-view can be relatively exhausting, in my honest opinion. But the idea is it's not a short-change match. It's just Jeff Jarrett is some people's cup of tea and not other people's cup of tea. And there's a legacy to him from he was in WWF, WCW. He helped develop TNA Impact and then everything else. And then, like Jay Lethal's okay. He's not everybody's cup of tea either. Darby Allin's thing, I like it. I just kind of feel like it might be that time to end it. And they've been together as a group for 2 years. I'm not saying have a heel turn or anything like that, but I don't know. It's opinion. I like seeing Sting, which is weird because he's in his damn near 60s doing some crazy stuff, and I appreciate him for going from there. But it's not a match that really just kind of gets me all excited and gooey on the inside to watch. But it could be a spot fest, not because you got to remember Jeff Jarrett was also there for Ric Flair's last match. So for some people, there's some likable stuff that comes in. Saraya versus Britt Baker. So Saraya is Paige from WWE. She had a neck injury, put her out there. She re-signed there. Britt Baker's kind of been carrying the torch for the women's wrestling. Soraya's going to win that. Sting and Darby Allin will win the other ones. Jungle Boy, Jack Perry versus Luchasaurus in a steel cage match. Remember, they were boys. They were tag teams. There was like double betrayals going on. And now Jack Perry goes against Luchasaurus. If I am Tony Khan, I book Luchasaurus to win anyway. so he can challenge the mid-card titles such as Wardlow and get some relevance, and he can also maybe challenge Mox, even though it's a hard gimmick where the man's basically a giant lucha libre dinosaur. But you'll probably give it the Jungle Boy because wrestling is sometimes a story about good versus evil, and you have to have the good guy win in the end out. TBS Championship, Jade Cargill and Nyla Rose, they've been kind of parading around the story that Nyla stole Jade's TBS Championship going from there, and she hasn't returned it yet. So Jade's like, I'm going to beat her up, and they're going to beat each other up. Jade Cargill wins, retains the title. This is the match I have kind of beef. There's two matches I have beef with on this card for logistic purposes. The Ring of Honor World Championship, remember, Chris Jericho, the Ocho, because now he's an 8-time world champion amongst all these promotions, is defending the Ring of Honor Championship, which is the main title. Remember, Tony Khan bought it out, so he features it on AEW against Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, formerly known as Cesaro. Bryan Danielson's formerly known as Dan Bryan, and then his own boy, Sammy Guevara. That didn't make sense to me. And I must have missed something because I don't know how Jericho's own boy from his stable ends up in that title match. But I'm not I think the match quality could be fine. I think I've sent you guys some highlights on Sammy Guevara, and he has some talent, but the problem is he's kind of a doofus, and he doesn't sell his spots. I think Jericho wins it out. The reason why I'm not excited for it is, like, what are we here for? Because you got to remember, Danielson and Claudio are part of the Blackpool Combat Club. Jericho and Sammy are part of the Jericho Appreciation Society. They have been feuding for like 8 months. I kid you not. And this is the problem with like every Jericho feud. Like, you know, my niece is almost going to be a year, and I feel like that feud's been going on longer than she has been alive. What are you doing? You got to rotate it out. You got to do some things. You got to play it to hand. And now that you put another title on there, I don't know. I don't like it. I don't want it. Other match I have a gripe with, Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter. I like both women. I hate the concept of the interim title. You want to know why I hate the concept of the interim title, Francisco and Andrew? Because Thunder Rosa has been out for almost 3 months now, so it doesn't really work into effect. You tried it originally when Punk got hurt, but it was only going to be like a 6-week recovery. And okay, I can get behind it, and that's fine. But when we're going on 3 months, you really should have vacated the title because it's going to create this whole concept of a unifier match that is just unnecessary, unwanted, uncalled for. And I just died against Shredder, but I still have 1 life left. God, this guy's hard. You guys got to get this game so you could pony up with me, even though I got to get the Cowabunga collection too. Maybe that'll happen. I don't know. It's like, who do I win? I expect Toni Storm to win, and then you're going to finally have the face turn for Tony or for Jamie Hayter to kind of go there and build up against Britt Baker because they're part of the same stable. And then finally, the main event, Jon Moxley, MJF. They've been doing some good promos. I sent you guys some stuff there. We know MJF can work. We know Moxley's kind of like the king of the castle. He's been really, after Brawl Out had occurred with Punk and the Elite, and the Elite's coming back, mind you. Punk is supposedly gone for good. They probably bought him out. He can't come on some stuff. He was there for one of the UFC fights commentating, but they're going to have the Elite come back and return. Here's the thing. I know a lot of people are saying MJF's going to win, and he's going to come out and he's going to win. Guys, can I make a prediction? And it's a silly prediction.
No, you can't.
I'm going to make this prediction anyway. You know, to quote Rage Against the Machine, F you, I won't do what you tell me. I do not believe. I don't think that MJF's going to win. I think they're going to pull the big swerve that all this buildup that you had for MJF and Moxley is not going to be his crowning achievement. And I'll tell you why. Because you know people are going to buy it anyway to see what happens. But what matters most right now for Tony Khan and for what he's also going to be building into Ring of Honor is sustainability, correct? You're going to want stuff that's sustainability for your brand to go from there. And TV ratings are exactly what matter the most. Can I continue my game? I can't continue my game even though I quit the story mode. Well, I'm sorry that I'm hungry, damn it. Bringing it back to the point that I was making to you guys. The idea, the belief that if you have the title change on Dynamite and it occurs, then what you have is the title and the viewing, and you're breaking 1 million. You might be breaking 1.5 million, right? Your pay-per-view buys are a lock, stock, and barrel. So if I'm a businessman, you know, you're going to want to buy the pay-per-view for the quality of the matches, correct? However, if I need the viewings ratings, because what is now? What's their biggest competitor? Hockey and basketball. So I would do the title change on TV because they've done it before. That's how Kenny Omega beat out Moxley all those years ago, going from there. So Granted, MJF probably is going to win. I'd be happy for him. I think highly of him. He's the salt of the earth, as he refers himself to be. But I think there's a lot of interest and intrigue and, just good times if you just put Mox. Because here's the thing, too. Shouldn't Moxley have the opportunity to have a long title range as well, or reign as well? Something. He had a long title reign beforehand, but that was post or during COVID and during the shutdown. My thought process is if you give it to him, he can have his flowers. And since they like, they like just continuing feuds for so effing long, who's to say you can't continue this feud even longer, right? So those are my predictions. That's what I got for you this week on the cage. Relatively short. We've been doing good. I'm not going on things, but also, thankfully, there's not just so much that's happening. Middle of the year, Vince retired, brawl out occurred, everything hit the fan. This time, we get to live a peaceful life like Thanos on his farm. And that's all I got for you for this week, boys.
All right, guys. Okay, that's it. So, next week, more, I guess, football, basketball, hockey, wrestling. All right, bye, guys.
Good night.